the Pakistan-China Institute, the leading think tank on Pakistan-China relations in South Asia, chaired by Senator Mushahid Hussain Sayyid, and led by Mustafa Haider and his young team. It was a pleasure to collaborate with you all, and I hope it's only a start towards more projects together. Ladies and gentlemen, today's room is full, and it's a signal that this event could not be more timely. Soon after Chinese President Xi Jinping's first official visit to Pakistan, announcing the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor as a flagship part of the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, it's gaining further momentum not only in Pakistan, but globally as well. Announced by President Xi Jinping in 2013, the BRI is seeking to rebuild China's ancient Silk routes for the 21st century, looking to build new connections across 3 continents with an estimated $4 trillion of investment across 65 countries. This is cross-border ambition on an unprecedented scale, at a time when globalization and free trade are under threat in some regions. Under the BRI, China will build railways and highways, aviation links, oil and gas pipelines, transmission lines, and telecommunication networks that will bring together 65 countries in Europe and Asia and benefit 4.4 billion people. Of course, the project is still very much in its infancy, and it's not all smooth sailing. So as we'll hear later on, there are geopolitical, developmental, and regulatory issues which China and host countries like Pakistan will have to confront as it develops stronger economic and infrastructural ties across a diversity of nations. And that diversity today is represented here as we see ambassadors from Tajikistan, from Azerbaijan. So that's an illustration of the diversity that we have to prepare for. There will also be practical issues that the Chinese and Pakistan government will need to address so that their considerable investment delivers value. China's own businesses, including many giant state-owned enterprises, will also operate as part of a global supply chain and meet the considerable regulatory demands of that supply chain. That is why this is much more than a story about Chinese foreign policy. Such an ambitious international trade route will only be successful in generating growth if the connected economies collaborate productively with China and each other. I think a few eyebrows are always raised when people see a partnership between professional accountants on the one hand and think tanks or NGOs on the other. It's not a natural partnership, but finance teams will have a crucial role to play in helping countries and public sector organizations maintain accurate reporting and regulatory compliance, as well as providing advice on mitigating risk and developing strategies for sustainable growth. Globally recognized standards in these areas are crucial in encouraging the movement of capital across borders and through to local economies. Rather than challenging the international harmonization of financial markets and standards, China's deepening links outside its own borders offer an opportunity to reaffirm those global standards. Last year, for example, China Financial Futures Exchange, Shanghai Stock Exchange, and the Shenzhen Stock Exchange together took up 30% of the strategic shareholding in the Pakistan Stock Exchange, valued at US dollars 85 million. The demand for professional accountants in countries along the route is a strong indicator of growth prospects as these countries look to facilitate wider economic activity. ACCA has a strong history in international trade and development, connecting the world through common international standards, and we've spent many years working with developing countries to build their economies and capacity. We've operated now in China for nearly 30 years, and we've operated in Pakistan for 20 years now, and we have a presence in 24 of the 65 countries along the Belt and Road route, with 35 ACCA offices across the BRI map. This is why ACCA is in a good position to understand BRI, its policy implications and associated demands, both in terms of numbers and the specific skill sets needed to deliver the BRI opportunities. ACCA also has a connecting and enabling role to play in BRI, and this is especially the people-to-people contact that we talk about. And we do that through our networks across the globe, just like we have members sitting here today. We can support and facilitate the coming together of governments, regulators, businesses, and a wide range of stakeholders. Belt and Road could well be the physical embodiment of a globalized world, introducing trade and services that are cut across borders and continents. As we all know, trade, especially technology and talent, do not recognize borders. Importantly, such an ambitious and high-profile initiative also brings an opportunity to promote and advance sustainability and its three pillars. They are economic, social, and environmental. Pakistan decision makers, and we see them here today, federal and provincial, businesses, civil society, and professional bodies, we all need to work together to educate and identify new areas for economic growth and provide the support needed to expand into rapidly developing markets. We look forward to working with our partners in Pakistan, China, and around the world to make this vision a reality in the years to come. And last but not least, we need to raise awareness on this impressive initiative. We need to discuss it, we need to debate it, which is precisely the aim of today's conference. I hope that you'll find this conference informative and relevant, as I always do. And if you do, I encourage you to explore more of our research, either via the ACCA website or in navigating the ACCA Insights app, which you can find on your Android phones. So let me now thank you all very much for attending today's conference. Let's keep lots of energy going throughout this morning, lots of interesting questions and lots of new questions. So let me hand back to Ramla. Thank you all very much for listening to me. Thank you.